For 1 cent plain, now 2 cents, and that's just the facts of life. Unfortunately, we need both. Without a 1 cent sales tax increase, we will never catch up with our needed infrastructure. Dorchester and Berkeley counties have experienced and will continue to experience explosive growth far into the future. Urge your state and local representatives to allow a temporary 1 cent increase in the local sales tax, 100% dedicated to road building and repair. Allow it on the next referendum and let the citizens decide.
Let me start with some parallel history.
I lived most of my life in New Jersey, some rural, some suburban, but I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. 7 years old, my parents decided that it was no place to live or raise a child, so we moved to New Brunswick, and when that became too crowded, we moved to a farm in Perrinville. It was a tiny little town, 2 general stores with the postmaster living and running one store. It had a tiny little lake with 2 rowboats, and they mostly grew Jersey corn and tomatoes. No public utilities save for one power line and phone line that ran down Sweetman's Lane, a 2-lane road with drainage ditches on either side.
It was designated as Monmouth County Highway 1. Look around. Is this starting to look familiar? Later on, I got married and moved to Pine Lake Park in Ocean County, New Jersey. Another tiny little town with a little man-made lake, and again, no public utilities save for power and a single phone line. Most of the roads weren't even paved.
The best we got from the township was oil sprayed on the roads to hold down the dust and the monthly DDT wagon spraying for mosquitoes. We had low taxes and wide open spaces. In the 1960s, Ocean County population was around 100,000. By the time I moved in during the 70s, the population had doubled, bringing with it all the problems of urban life. Here is where the parallels in this story become obvious. The population has now ballooned to almost 700,000, and the infrastructure is collapsing because the people cannot afford to support it any longer. The aquifer that supported the county has collapsed and become badly contaminated, necessitating a public water system be provided, and then the public water system became contaminated from the same aquifer. New Jersey outlawed private septic systems, necessitating sewer systems be built. And of course, by this time, the county and township got around to paving the dirt roads, which had to be torn up, not once, but twice for these projects. To supply power back then, we had built a nuclear power plant in our backyard, which is now so old that it has to be decommissioned. No telling where that debris will end up, but knowing New Jersey, it will end up under a new school or playground. Roads, schools, and hospitals had to be built. Traffic became unbearable and taxes became too high for people to afford. We are about to see the same thing happening here in South Carolina, except that we have better weather. It used to be called Manifest Destiny and was the excuse used to take over the West and resettle all of the original inhabitants of this continent. It is happening right here in our region, and the pattern will continue unabated and is unstoppable. The best we can do is to take control of the political system and elect representatives with logical and fiscal sense. This is where we are today.
20 years ago, our prior political leaders sold off all the property and building rights in the surrounding Somerville area. They either didn't care or understand what the future would bring. And now we are faced with the current reality.
It's our representatives' job to write and control bills and laws. If they make bad laws, then tell them to change them. If they don't, change them. It's our job to watch and control our representatives. And here's how to do it. The answer is in the book, Amazon ASIN, BOOD2Z1GGXWG. Brought to you by FirstAmendmentFreePress.org.
You can either just sit down there and complain about your so-called representatives, be stuck in traffic and never get to where you want to go, or you can go directly to the State House. Just copy the address at the arrow and fill out their forms. Choose the Senate, the House, or even better, both. You can message them all at once. If you don't, you may never be able to make a left-hand turn again in South Carolina.